This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
The Macquarie Dictionary 2024 Word of the Year has been announced, and I, straight away when I read it, was disappointed until I discovered...
It's not a word we've ever heard used.
Cosy living was last year.
Yeah, cosy lives.
Yeah, cosy lives. Yeah, so that was last year, and it's cost of living, of course. But the new word of the year is full on, and we know that people certain gravitate towards certain words. Meghan Markle, she had a word of the year when her documentary came out. This is her.
My word for that year was truth.
Truth. Sean, truth.
Give me strength.
Yeah, but no, that did give her strength.
Okay.
This is going to give us strength because we're going to feel this is so exactly what's happening in the moment. It's called enshittification. Now, that's right. Enshittification basically means that everything that was good is now shit. And I'm talking
glad you
about
explained it,
food.
I'm glad
I'm
you
talking
explained
about services of businesses.
So
Everything
it's the
generally.
gradual decline of standards,
And we have
basically.
seen the enshittification of this society and world since COVID. I feel like it has dramatically dropped.
Any business that wants a leg up or wants to be a market leader has good service.
They're
rare.
Sean, I was at...
They're rare.
I was popping by a homeswear store somewhere in the city, and there's a homeswear store that's been around for many, many years, and I'm surprised that it's still available.
Okay.
And anyway, they had like a little tea light candle holder there for $2 and like a little bargain bin. I went,
Yep.
that's not bad. So I went to swing in there and get some, and I went up to the front counter, and I was met by the king and queen of enshittification. The two people that were working at the counter, a guy and a girl, both probably, 18 or so.
Yep.
Didn't stop their conversation about their weekend and looked at me as if I was bothering them. And I apologised for buying something.
I hate that. Yeah,
I apologised for buying something.
Yeah.
So that's just face-to-face service, not even internet service. This originally comes from internet providers laying everything out for you and then basically getting you caught and then dropping the service.
Well, my internet provider stopped providing email. So they then outsourced the email. And it's like, you're an internet provider. That's just a normal part of the package. But so now you've got to deal with two parties. Yeah. You've got to pay for two parties instead of it all being combined. If there's a problem, you've got to go through two people to get it sorted. It's just enshittification.
Enshittification. On the flip side of that, which is absolutely linked, when I've spoken to some guys who own some businesses that is very, very successful, the thing that stands out should be the basic. Their thing is they just give the people service.
Yes.
That's all. That's it, right?
Yeah. Fix the problem, basically.
We've dropped so far
Sean,
that their businesses are thriving on the fact that is someone wants something, we'll help you out.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's cheaper.
We stuff it up,
cheaper.
we'll just come and fix it.
Or you can't get the
question.
staff anymore because there's demand for labour as well.
I've been a customer of a certain company that a lot of people here in Australia use, but yet of recent times, because of certain things with their business model, they have lost a lot of customers because they're giving something else.
So they should be working harder.
They should be working harder. So 7 years ago, I think, when I was living over the road at Subiaco, when I was waiting for my apartment to get fixed, these people came in and set up this service, and they had a technician there, had a chat with him, showed me how it works, blah, 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 and then left. Now, fast forward to now. The service now, because I've been with them so long, it requires new technology. So I've been sent the new technology. However, that technology they sent me is faulty. So then the next step for that is I said to them, can you send out a technician, or can you send me a new box or a technician to come out and service the thing? And they said, yep, we can't. They said, we don't service your area. Now, I live in Mayland.
It's not exactly.
I'm not out in the country. So I said to them, how do you not
service
exactly
Panawanica.
I said, sorry, how do you not service my area? No, so they don't service...
What area do you service?
They don't service any area. So now, from their solution from sending me a faulty product is that I now have to find a technician that is authorised to fix that product and then pay for it and then submit a reimbursement from them.
Yeah, can you imagine the reimbursement?
Something that has not even started.
Yeah.
I haven't even used it yet.
Yeah.
And I said, then this has to be against consumer law.
And they said,
but
no, it's
not
enshittification.
It's enshittification.
That's it.
Now, at least you've got a word for it. Michelle's in Coogee. Hello.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Wonderful, Michelle.
So, Michelle, we've never ever heard of, enshittification before, but don't you feel like it is the word of the year?
I love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I was straight on. I'm like, I definitely have one for that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So recently we purchased a portable spa
Yep.
from a well-known store.
Yes.
And went to pick it up and brought it home. And I have 2 young kids, so they had their bathers on, ready, very excited. And there was a pump that we had to plug in and attach to the spa to first inflate it. As soon as we plugged in the pump, it threw up an error, and we Googled, YouTubed everything.
Yes.
It's a fairly common spa, and tried to find fixes for it. Nothing. So I called the store, told them what was happening. Came back to me and said, you'll have to bring it back in. I was like, that's no problem, drop it back tomorrow, because it was a Friday evening.
Yes.
Went back in Saturday morning, expecting that, we'd be able to just come out with a brand new one, given that we've just took it out of the box.
Of course.
Brought it back in, and they said I had to fill out a warranty form, and it'd have to be sent away, and it could be a couple of months before.
Oh, are you kidding me?
They come back to us.
I'm enraged.
No,
So
this
that was
isn't right.
7 weeks ago.
No.
And I still have no spa, and I haven't heard back from them yet.
This is a consumer
my
affairs
God,
issue.
Sean and I were just saying, Sean and I were just saying that what it should be, as easy as it is for you to buy or access a service, it should be that easy if you have a problem with that service for that problem to be a solution. So
Michelle,
it should be this.
Yeah.
You've
we've-
actually got rights on this.
Yes, you do.
So Consumer Affairs says that if something doesn't work, you as the consumer have the option to get a refund, to get it exchanged, or to get it fixed, right? So you should have been able to just get it exchanged straight away.
Oh my God, you got to fight to the
Michelle,
highest hill
you
for this,
take them
Michelle,
down.
and we will fight with you.
Yeah.
Luke's in Bayswater. Hello.
Enshittification, Luke.
Oh, I've got a ripper for you. So we've had brand new footpath done in our backyard. Had an issue with a unnamed service. They've come through, said that they were going to fix said service.
Yep.
Thought it was going to be a nice, simple fix. Came home from work one day and they dug up 15 square metres of our footpath. Now,
That's pretty
when I
simple.
say they tried to put it back together, they tried to put it back together in context of there was a square pattern on the footpath and it was turned into a diamond pattern. That's all that, basically. Not
what looked
matching the
better?
rest of it. Had to redo the whole thing.
Let's go to
Use
Joe
your
in
project.
Cardiff. Hi, Joe.
Hi, guys.
Enshittification, Joe.
What have you
I
experienced?
love it. It just so describes so many experiences I've had with trades of late trying to do renovations.
Oh, Renaults.
I was attempting to get a leak, a minor, well, it was about a metre long leak from my patio, between my patio and my gutter fixed.
Yes.
So I got out some roofing plumbers, and the first guy that came out ran round and ended up causing a whole lot of more damage to my patio. He dinted all the tin, and he used an expanding foam.
Yes.
So instead of having about a metre long leak, I now had about 10 metres worth of leaks across the patio.
No,
that's
he
worse.
made it more leaky.
That's definitely worse.
Yeah.
So the company then said that they would look at replacing the tin. The tin, it was no longer manufactured, so they had to find a company that would make it from scratch.
God.
And I've been promised on various occasions that they're coming out, and then the morning of, I'd get a message to say that they weren't going to be turning up because I've been sent to another job. So I've had about 12 days off work, waiting for trades to turn up.
No, you have
That
not.
haven't turned up.
And last Friday, when they did turn up, they took out the 2 pieces of tin after it took them about 3 hours to figure out how to do so. And
Claw hammer, rip it out a nail, play the tin. There you
I
go.
now have a gaping hole in the
Oh, don't
video
say that.
because the tin doesn't fit.
It's the Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
The astronauts are in the house, everybody. Welcome back to our old friend, Catherine Bennell Pegg.
Hey, Peggy.
And you've brought a friend with you. Do you want to introduce her, Catherine?
I've brought the amazing Shauna Panja. Shauna is absolutely incredible. We met 15 years ago as students at NASA.
At NASA High.
And flew on together.
That's like Sweet Valley, Nate.
So you were drawn to each other at NASA High, as I call it. Yeah.
That's right. So, we went on a zero-G plane together, and since we've both been writing our own stories on our way to space, and it's so wonderful to have met again today here in Perth.
Oh my
Were you
God.
doing studying different parts or in different sections of NASA when you were both there at the same time?
Yeah, so I was there for a summer program all about leveraging technology to do big things for humanity and address grand challenges. NASA Catherine was there for the International Space University's summer program, but we spent a lot of time together, and it was like Disneyland for nerds, essentially.
Oh, yeah, it would be unbelievable.
I'd love to do it, but you need math, don't you? You really do need math.
Maths is an important tool, but actually to work in space, there's jobs not just in STEM fields, but any kind of job you put the word space in front of can be a job. We need
space hairdresser,
experts,
space plumber.
Absolutely. There's no gym fix the space station.
Imagine the rate.
Space gyms mowing.
Imagine the rate. Sean, I wanted to ask you, being a physician and being involved in space, I did see a thing where you mentioned the fact that space essentially is out there to kill you. So being a physician is a very important role, being on a space station or anywhere of that. So what kind of things would you have to do to be able to help people?
Well, she'd need to box of Panadol Rapid.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, essentially, if you take nothing else away from space, is that space is trying to kill you. And every aspect of the spaceflight environment, from the increased radiation to the weightlessness, has an impact on the body.
Yes.
And so one of the famous bits of trivia is that because your bones lose density and your muscles lose mass.
And you get shorter, taller?
Yeah.
You get taller?
You can get taller because your spine decompresses. And so astronauts up on the station famously have to work out for 2 hours a day doing aerobic and resistive exercise 6 days a week. So if you don't like working out but you want to go to space, better start changing those habits.
Yeah,
now.
right.
So, what can you bench in space?
Is it easier or harder?
Just a couple of cars.
I mean, if you're simply trying to bench, weight, then you can say to someone you bench 600.
Nice.
That's fine. The way they do it in space is they have the advanced resistive exercise device, the AREDS device. So it's based on hydraulics and resistance. So you can actually lift weights in air quotes in space.
So you're talking about the body, right, in space, and there's a joke that ever since we were in primary school was, what's the definition of gross farting in the spacesuit? So, can you fart in space? And if so, if you fart in a spacesuit, is it gross? Go.
Well, yes, you can. Absolutely.
You can? I didn't know.
Otherwise, we'd, blow up.
I don't know.
Yes. But in a spacesuit, there's lots of air filtration, fortunately. Also on the space station, there's airflow. Otherwise, you'd be surrounded in a gas bubble of your own making.
Yeah, right.
So it's a bit like being in a plane.
Indeed.
Yeah.
On the fart thing, you prick my ears, but you can't have fizzy drinks in space because you can't burp. That's right.
That's correct, which is kind of a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Anyone who knows me knows I'm addicted to sparkling water and soda, but if that's what it takes to get to space, I'm willing to take one for the team
so
here.
You can't pack a soda stream.
What about the possibility of a legit medical emergency, like somebody on the space station, for example, might need
actual surgery,
an appendectomy, or there's some sort of medical emergency. Is it possible to do surgery up there?
So one of my favorite bits of space trivia is that they have done surgery in space before.
Yes.
It was on baby mice. Some of the earlier shuttle experiments, they looked at doing discectomy, so spinal cord surgery on these baby mice. And so basically Velcro is your friend.
Yeah.
You Velcro your tools down so they're not flying everywhere, so it's not a mess.
Yes.
And then the physics of blood in space is such that it more glues to itself rather than goes everywhere. So you simply take your gauze and flick it away.
Is there up there, do they have general anaesthetic, and is that sent up there just in case?
There is an advanced life support respiratory pack.
Yeah, right.
So if they do need to manage an airway in space, that capability exists. They have 24/7 coverage from the flight surgeons on Earth. So there's a crew medical officer that also has training, and there's all of these medical supply kits. There's even a defibrillator on station.
Okay.
Never been used, luckily.
Great.
Yeah, I know. I'll be worried about the electrics.
I mean, obviously they're sending physically fit and able people up there, but you never know. Things can happen.
But
right?
also, say, can there be an operation that can't be done, right? So you can't do the procedure, and they have to get them back to Earth, and you got to wait for a shuttle to come. What happens in that scenario?
I mean, a lot of the scenarios where there might be an emergency, they prefer to bring you back to ground in low Earth orbit on the space station. It can often be faster to get you back.
So
what about those two
we've
that
got
are
a shuttle
stuck
ready
up
to go?
there?
What
about them?
There's a bus stop schedule in effect to the space station. Every 3 months or more, there's usually a vehicle going up, but it's all tightly scheduled. So the two astronauts up there that stayed longer than they thought, they could come back if we had to bring bring them back.
So there is an emergency one ready to go. There's an emergency
there's
Uber
always
that you call mum and dad.
There's
and they
enough
come get
seats
you.
for everyone to come back.
So, you ring the ambulance and the ambulance shuttle goes and gets you.
Absolutely. So, for example, for appendicitis, if you get appendicitis up there, the plan is, you give people antibiotics and bring them back. It's your first
I'd love to
call.
see the ambulance shuttle going up there.
Yes,
like, going up there, and
light
then it's got this light going on, and then the satellites move out of the way. Put their blinkers on.
Shauna, can you tell me about the dangers of space dust or moon dust? Because that's one of the big deals up there, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're thinking about the further missions, and this is really timely because there are plans to send astronauts to the moon, including the first woman and first person of color to the moon,
So
starting with the
exciting.
Artemis missions. And so we know from the Apollo missions that lunar dust is a very potent eye, skin, and respiratory irritant. So it's like fine talc powder. It gets everywhere.
Yeah,
So for anyone who says that we faked the moon landing, we put a lot of effort into generating those thousands of pages of biomedical documentation around it. And so now the question is, is that based on that one landing site from the Apollo missions? What does the lunar dust toxicity look like at the South Pole? How do we mitigate for it? How do we make spacesuits that are more repellent to this dust? So these are all considerations that the next generation of astronauts need to think about.
I think about having about 100 Dyson stick vacuum cleaners just surrounding the Can you just suck it in like dust?
There's lots of cool proposals out there to think about how we get rid of the dust. So it does have an ionic charge. So thinking about creating a repellent charge to get rid of it, to send it the other way.
That's
a microfiber cloth.
Get it right in the
Yeah.
French name.
Sorry, I'm
We're
so
getting to
in.
sci-fi
I feel like I'm on
weeds
Voyager
here,
right now with Janeway.
This is one of the things Australia is really good at. From our mining and resources sector, we're good at handling dusty environments.
Really?
So when we're sending our rover up there within the decade, RUVA, it's called, we'll be looking at the dust as one of the things we're trying to understand up there.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
We have with us Catherine Bennell-Pegg and Dr. Shauna Pandya. But Shauna, can we just go through some of your...
Yeah.
We've got the list of your certifications. So this is what you're certified in. Solo skydiving, advanced open water dry suit, nitrox and rescue diving.
I've done that.
You're working towards your private pilot's license. You can speak English, French, Gujarati, and you dabble in some Spanish and Russian. You sing, you play the piano, and you hold, this is my favourite, a black belt in Taekwondo, and you've trained in Muay Thai in Thailand, and where you won a fight as well.
Now, look, a lot of people are saying that's a lot,
Overachiever.
but I have to say there's one thing missing, and that is you don't speak Klingon. Right.
I just haven't got to that part of the
swearing for?
astronaut curriculum
Yeah,
yet.
okay.
I'm sure. It's imminent.
Hey, Catherine, off air before when the song was playing, you mentioned G-force training. That always is a thing that fascinates me because we see in, the fighter pilots and they're just going up and doing all that stuff. But you've got to be able to take a certain amount of G-forces when you're doing that stuff. Can you tell us what kind of training that is and what level you can get up to in terms
do
of
kind of two
force?
kinds of G-force training. The one is the zero-G plane flights, and the other is where we get spun up in a centrifuge to feel like the G-forces of launch and re-entry.
Yeah.
And we went on this centrifuge in the Netherlands, and we spun up to 6G, going through the launch and re-entry profiles for the two main kinds of vehicles that people go up in today. And it was really amazing. I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. But for pilots, when you see them, they feel the G-force like head to foot. That's why you often see their faces contort and pass out. For astronauts, we actually feel it front to back. It's like having 5 of you sit on your chest.
Right.
So you have
sorry,
to
how
breathe
can
a
you
bit
smile?
different.
I know I jumped in there, but how can you smile and think that's fun?
It's so fun.
Sean can't go on a roller.
I thought you were asking the question of whether you can smile in
You got an
space.
elephant sitting on your chest.
Basically, but the thing is, the capsule we're in was dark, and I mean, aside from you didn't have the vibrations and the sound of launch, but you definitely could imagine yourself going through the launch and re-entry in real time. And for all of us on the training, it was our dream, and it was just the closest we got to physically to feeling that. It was amazing.
So-
I can help you out with this. So I've done the same training.
Yes.
I did it in the U.S. and it really does feel like there's an elephant sitting on your chest, but there is a specific way you get around it, and it's called pursed lip breathing. So if you want to train like
Okay.
astronauts,
Let's
you
do it
can do
now.
it here
Let's do it now.
in the studio. So
Yes.
just pretend you're breathing through a straw
Right.
and just breathe. I'm sure this is riveting radio
Yes,
for
it is.
everyone.
No. Yes. And what's
But
that
look
doing?
at that. Yeah, so this is helping you distribute, like get in the airflow and distribute it to your lungs, even with all of those G-forces sitting on your chest.
If on Earth an elephant actually sits on your chest, will this work?
There's only one way to test that.
Okay, so let's go on in. Do astronauts miss gravity?
Well, when they come back, they miss having lack of gravity. It's common for astronauts when they come back to, put a glass of water in the air and let go.
They get the gravity blues.
And if you want to embarrass a recently returned astronaut, throw them something to catch.
Yeah,
Because
right.
they cannot catch because they're used to things
They're just
traveling in
floating.
straight lines,
Yeah.
right? Instead of a parabola.
And also, if you're going to throw something to someone, it takes a minute to get to you.
Yeah.
Because if you ditch something in
That's very
space, it doesn't,
interesting.
if you ditch a baseball, it slows down straight away, doesn't it?
No, it still moves.
Oh, really?
It just
How
doesn't
fast?
have like the arc of falling to the ground in the way that you can see.
So I
Yeah,
can throw
Yeah, so
something at
the
your face and it
knuckleball
could
won't
hurt.
work.
Yeah, it would definitely hurt.
Okay, great.
Good to know.
Astronauts bump their heads a lot when they push off one side of the space station to move around. You have to be careful not to go too fast, otherwise you might whack your head on the other side. And that's something that Shauna and I practiced together once on a zero-G flight. When you're first in one of these vomit comets and the floor falls away, you realise really fast you shouldn't jump, right? And you have this urge to swim and kick, and you have to really control that because you move around like a ping pong ball if you don't do slow, controlled movement.
Right. The rookie move for anyone who's never flown zero-G is to just undo their seatbelts and launch themselves, and then they quickly realize there's a ceiling there when their head meets it. So I've done 11 parabolic flights now for research flights, and you realize that the way to move around is just using finger touch to kind of just gracefully.
So
Like you're
move
Superman,
away.
you're controlling your powers.
So you're gliding.
Literally, it's such a freeing experience, and you also get to use this incredible environment to do some pretty cool science too.
And it's been a joy meeting you, Shauna. And Catherine, you're welcome back. As you know, you're the fourth member of our team now, so you're welcome anytime.
And as always, to infinity and beyond.
Thanks, Buzz.
Thank you.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
I'm going to give you an example of how a negative situation for one person can be a positive situation for another.
Love it.
Last night, I was watching the news and this story came up. Have a listen.
A former Canning councillor has been found guilty of stealing several electoral signs of his rival candidate. Jesse Jacobs attempted to sabotage Canning Mayor Patrick Hall's campaign. The 43-year-old paid his co-accused to steal the signs in the weeks leading up to the local election last year.
Now, this was exciting for us, not only because, what an interesting crime, sign stealing, but also he was wearing a hat, and on the hat it had a certain company's name. It was a Nova 937 hat.
It was big. It was
So
strong.
I've texted the guy straight away with the photo.
He's never worked for us, just so you know. Never worked for
He's
us.
not a supernova.
Obviously, he got it for free somewhere.
But it's just so... I thought, thank God
Yes.
it wasn't a horrendous crime.
No,
it's
that's
just
true.
a bit of fun sign stealing. And so I deep dived into the story, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the mayor at the time was going, oh my God, someone's stealing my signs. And it was happening again and again and again. He goes, oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag them. So he was like, air tag them. And then he was at home and then suddenly he saw the sign was moving. He goes, oh, that's in a car. So he jumps in his car, the mayor by himself, and then follows the car. And then there's two guys jump out when he's confronted them. One takes off. The other one he pins to the ground, yelling at everyone in the street when they're coming out, going, I'm the mayor! Call the police!
Citizens arrest.
Citizens arrest!
In Canning, as the mayor, he's got a lot of power.
Yeah, and it was this guy. It was this councillor, apparently. So
That's amazing.
And where's our hat?
But it's so funny that you're out stealing signs because I don't think. This was an exact plot line. If anyone watches Schitt's Creek, Moira did the same thing. She went, oh my God, she was going against the mayor's wife for local council, and she said that someone's been stealing her signs and sort of, not officially, but accusing Jocelyn, the mayor's wife, of taking them. Long story short, at the end of the episode, you find out she chucked them all in the bin, Moira, to create controversy. And to create someone's after her because she's got so much power.
Yes.
We haven't had this much exposure
Natalie.
on the news since that bus with us on the side of it caught fire. Remember that?
Yeah. Can I be honest? Because for us, a lot of the times, something will happen here at Nova and it'll make the news and they will not mention Nova, they will not mention our show, nothing like that.
No,
so the fact
Don't get a lot of exposure
that we got Nova 937 from that, we are so excited as a network.
I think you'd call it a guerrilla marketing campaign.
I do want to say, if anyone's planning on doing a petty crime, nothing that it's too vulgar or horrible,
but a newsworthy petty crime,
and you would like a hat.
We have got many.
But think of about this. The amount of people that have been given free merch.
Yes.
You wear free merch, Sam.
Yes.
You wear free
Sean,
merch.
you love a bit
What
of
have you
free
got on
merch.
now? Like that? Oh, yeah, you've got the Cougar Morrison
Cougar
shirt on.
Morrison
To be honest, you can do anything. Go to prison, wear that. Cougar Morrison will be proud.
Yeah.
But you don't. When you give out free merch, you don't realise where your company's name is going to be.
You can't control what happens
It's not
next.
anywhere
That's
in
right.
the world. And these can be things like a criminal could have been wearing it.
Yep.
These could be things like, you could have met what if you met a person that you're interested in, they're wearing your company shirt, and that would be a sign.
Something heroic could take place and it's on the news, but you're wearing a product from your company.
What if you're just in a tiny little out-of-the-way bar in Ireland down a street that no one goes to, and then next minute someone walks in and they've got your bricking company's shirt on, and you're over there for holidays?
We want to know, has your merch turned up somewhere somewhat unexpected?
Where has your merch rocked up?
Nicola, hello.
So we've got a plumbing company. It's about 10 years old, and it started from very humble beginnings about, say, maybe 8 years ago. So we just had a little...
Can I just mention, I need a plumber. What's the business called?
It's Fairhead Plumbing and Gas.
Lovely.
Fairhead, beautiful.
Yep, nice.
Thank you for that.
That's okay, honey.
Yeah, so we started very humbly with a bit of a clapped-out high A, and we were ready for an upgrade. And we'd had our name put on the side, professionally put on the side of the van, and I put it on Gumtree, and obviously you get the weird and wonderfuls that come in through Gumtree. I had a guy come and have a look at it about 9:30 at night, and he goes, "Oh, yep, I'll take it." I was like, "Okay, we'll get the sticker removed, no worries." No, well, I'll just take it how it is. I'm like, why is that? He goes, "Oh, it's okay, I want to take it to Africa." I'm like, what?
Oh,
what? Oh, no, it's going to Africa. I'm like, really?
Okay.
They don't have hiaces over there. Okay.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is a guy from Gumtree. I said, mate, I'm going to have to take the sticker off before you can take the car. I was just having visions of our little plumbing company driving around Africa. We're going global. We're going global.
You are.
A bunch of endangered animals in the back, their heads hanging out.
Did you take the cash, Nicola?
No.
I did insist that he took the name off because I just didn't know where he was going to, go with it.
That's a wise idea.
And what business name was that on the side of the van again?
Fairhead Plumbing and Gas.
Fairhead Plumbing and Gas, everybody. Thank you, Nicola.
Thanks, Nicola.
Can't be too careful. Kate's in Claremont. Hello.
Quite a few years ago, my husband works in oil and gas, and he worked for a large oil and gas company.
Yep.
And they provide them with the high-vis gear when they go out on site with the company logo. But they also embroider their full name, first name and surname, on their shirt.
Yeah.
Anyway, he changed company, so I didn't think too much about it and just bundled all his old gear up and put it in the good Sammy's bin.
Yes.
And about a year later, he gets this phone call from the homicide detective at the homicide squad.
Yeah.
To inquire about his whereabouts because they had found his bloodied shirt with his name on it that had been involved in a potential homicide.
So he was wearing your husband's shirt while murdering?
Yes.
So the police got him and he goes, no, we gave it away to the Good Sammys. Did they believe you right at the start? What happens?
Initially my husband actually was just dumbfounded. He couldn't explain it. He didn't know what had happened. And then he told, obviously they were able to establish fairly quickly that he wasn't personally involved.
Yes.
And then my husband was relaying the story to me, and I went, He said, what happened to all my old gear? And I said, I put it in the Good Sammys.
Your fault. I'm just going to put it out there. If you're going to murder somebody, don't do it in high vis. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
But not just that. I'm glad, obviously, you and your partner are in a beautiful, loving place. But if you're a bit rocky situation, Sean, and this happened, you'd be like pushing the police. No, he wasn't here that night.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
We've got a bit of
Came home flustered and watched the car.
Let's take this home and get it out.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.